gentlemen, boys and girls, fans of old movies, we are back here at Collection Connection. We've got Fuzzy, Comic Lizard, JD Geek. Our movie today is the 1982 sword and sorcery film Beastmaster, directed by Don Coscarelli and starring Marc Singer, Tanya Roberts, John Amos, and Rip Torn, loosely based on the 1959 novel Beastmaster by Andre Norton. The film is about a man who can communicate with animals and who fights an evil wizard and his army. This movie, I have to actually scroll for the ratings. IMDb has it 6.2 out of 10, surprisingly high for me. Let's see.
Way too high.
Rotten Tomatoes 46%. Amazon UK 4.5 out of 5 stars. These guys are all Josh's peeps, huh? I keep on going. No, that's what we got. That's what we got for this one. So let's see. It's got the beginning is Conan's homies on stilts, and you know I think the original. I want to say the first 20 minutes. There was 2 parts I liked in the first 20 minutes, and it was each of the girls' boobs as she ran. They were getting attacked in the village. That was cool. I think if I was watching this as a kid with my imagination, filling in the gaps, it might be okay. But comparing it to movies that were, you know, sword and sorcery of the time, Conan, Red Sonja, you know, God. It was.
It speaks volumes.
Let's let Jaded Geek go defend it before we attack it.
There you go. That's you can pick it
up. We'll have the roles reversed this time, dude.
Okay, let's do it.
I gave this film to you as a gift. This is how you treat it.
Did you keep the receipt? That's all I'm asking. Did you keep the receipt? Because there's other one, part 2. I'd like part 2 better, but you know, whatever.
This movie,
does this have Phantasm Effect?
This movie is far better than Red Sonja is, without a question. Conan the Barbarian, okay, I'm going to give you that one. Classic swords and sorcery. My only complaint about this film is that the special effects, in comparison to what's come since, is obviously lacking in a lot of ways. But there are so many. So first of all, like some of the Indian films that we've watched, this film has a lot of callbacks and payoffs that work out through the film. It's a tightly woven story. The characters are compelling. Marc Singer worked his ass off to get that body pre-Marvel.
He was ripped. He was ripped. He was ripped.
And Tanya Roberts, guys. That was
the best scene in the movie. At the waterfall.
The scene at the waterfall. They float, and I'm not talking about when she was in the water. Now, let me ask you guys this, because this is what draws me into this movie. When you first see the witches, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Dancing, gyrating, half naked. You're like, whoa, and then it kind of pans up to the face, and you're like, oh my god.
I literally told my wife that when
you just knocked your phone off kilter.
I was like, I said the same. Literally, it's funny you said, because it's literally one of the parts that I was like, oh damn, look at those legs, dude. Like, I'm not a leg guy, but I was like, damn. And then the camera pans up. I was like, oh god, what the? That done fucked that up.
Some septo heads, man.
So that's the thing.
You know about a septo head?
No, what?
Everything except the head.
Exactly.
Like a butterface.
Yes.
So then, of course, you have Rip Torn being cast as the High Priest Maax, and he does fabulous at it. He is an excellent villain. The hook nose gives him all the villainy that you could ever hope for, and the guy is throwing children into the fire he throws one kid in there before the next one gets rescued. So we actually get to see children die in a miserable, horrible way in this film. That like elevates the quality that we're talking about. Not only that,
what kind of people stand by and let their children be killed though? They did outnumber the army.
That's right.
They were wusses.
Those that believe that the gods demand the sacrifice. Come on, guys. This is ancient history. Let's go. Then
this was ancient history.
You know what? That's true. That's true. I mean,
this movie has plenty of animals to make Liz happy. A couple of cute little ferrets, an eagle that soars through the sky, and let's not forget about Sultan, the great tiger who gave his life for this film, poured his heart and soul into it.
Yeah, nice that you're the asshole that brings that up when you didn't even. I'm a connoisseur of Beastmaster. I don't fucking know anything what you're talking about. This dead tiger. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? So the tiger, his name was Sultan in real life, and he's actually a regular looking tiger. He's an orange with black stripes, like a regular tiger. Well, that's not good enough, so they decided to dye him black for the movie. A couple months after the movie ended, he died because of the dye coloring. He had a reaction to the coloring of his fur being dyed so much and out in the heat and everything.
I'm calling PETA.
Effect on him, and he ended up dying. So the tiger in the movie died because of.
I saw when they sunk the little ferret into the swamp, and then he grabs it by the neck and pulls it out. I was like, that's kind of what would WWPD on that one. But damn, dude. So Sultan died from a Just for Men overdose.
Apparently, he had an allergic reaction.
So just the heat, right? Probably him being black would fuck up his.
It was the dye. It was a chemical thing that got into his system because they had to dye the whole from head to toe.
So in part 2, do they have a different tiger to kill or what?
He's like cleaning himself in the movie, and when you look at his tongue is black because he ingested the dye from that parts too.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Part 2 is better.
This is in the days. This is in the days before PETA, guys. So this is back when men were men and filming got done no matter what.
I mean, horses are falling all over the place in this thing. They're lighting them on fire and.
Yeah, let's talk for a minute about that explosion when they lit the moat on fire. I mean,
no, fuck the explosion there. No, I'm talking about the explosion in the fucking hut. Like, what was in the hut that made it explode? I started laughing. I go, every 80s movie has to have at least 2 explosions in it. And sure enough, he lights the fucking thing and the house exploded.
But the explosion at the moat, it happens right next to Marc Singer, and that dude is basically naked. And there's fire raining down on him from the sky when that happens. They poured their hearts into this film, and I can feel it. I can feel it. It's a great film. There's nothing extraneous about it. It's not like a waste of time. It's short. It's quick. And you want to talk about a movie with like a lot of silent running time? There's a lot of action that takes place in this movie with no dialogue, but you're not lost because they know how to weave a narrative. This is a great movie.
Yeah.
Can I go now?
Whatever.
Please do.
Let me put my jaded glasses on real quick, dude. Now, let me explain what the fuck is wrong with this movie, dude. It was like watching a mixture of the guy didn't know if he wanted to make He-Man or Conan. He didn't know because he was dressed like He-Man. Like he had the look of He-Man, but he was anorexic as shit, right? And then the part that killed me, like Rice literally fucking laughed out loud. Like I did not even mean to. I forgot about it, was the training montage after his dad dies and he grabs that big piece of wood and he's doing everything that every kid does when they pick up a fucking sword. Like that's all he's doing, like that. And then the eagle flies by and he goes, and then goes back at it. I was fucking rolling, dude. I'm dying. But then, like you were saying, like it has its benefit. Like I'm not gonna lie, Jada. I liked this when I was younger. I did. I think what are we calling it now? When it's the Goonie effect or whatever.
Yeah.
I think this is the first one that I've watched with you guys where I'm like, oh, this is not what I remember, like at all, like nothing, like even down to the guys, the bat things that cuddle you and they fuck you and green nut comes out and then you're fucking a skeleton and shit. Like I was like, what the fuck is that? Like what? And then when the eagle swoops down to save the kid and fucking takes off with it, it's a ragdoll like fucking I just kept hoping that he dropped the fucking baby. I know it's fucked up, but that's all I wanted him to do was drop the baby. I'd have been like, it's a great movie. There we go. But I'm going to go with just tell you the good parts. We all agree we saw 80s boobies. Okay? That's always a plus, dude. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing better than a nonsensical boob shot in the middle of an 80s movie. So we got that. We got Rip Torn. I don't remember him being in it. Like when he showed up at that scene, I fucking was like, oh my God, it's Rip Torn. And he kills it as always. So I do agree with you there. Rip Torn is awesome as the bad guy. But that's it. Like even the animal wrangling in it, like there's parts of it you can tell is literally like that when the ring with the eyeball, like you could tell it's a fake hand, like just sitting there, and the fucking eyeball comes out. This was. I don't want to rag on it too much because I give respect to anyone because you can tell this is a low budget movie. A guy made this like literally with grit and grease and you know what I mean, hope and will. Like this was not fucking like whoo. This was a doozy of a film to make. I bet. So I don't want to shit on it too much. But damn, this is bad. Like damn, and this is me telling you it's bad. I like everything except Fast X. This was bad. That's why I'm done being jaded. I'm good.
All right. So it's my turn.
Your turn.
This one, I could tell that they had good intentions, and we all know that the road to hell was paved by good intentions. I think that it's the execution. The execution is where it's failed. Marc Singer, the amount of work that Mike Donovan had to do after freeing us from the aliens in V to come back down and to don a loincloth and to talk to tigers, the work's commendable. But I think that if you would have spent half the time on your body instead of learning how to swing a sword, that might have done something for you. Just like I think it was like they saw Schwarzenegger swinging his sword around at Bombata and decided that needed to be a piece in a Swords and Sandals movie. And it was too much. I mean, there was a scene where they were shooting crossbows and he like grabs the guy, holds him in front of him, and then they get the crossbow. It could have been edited in a way where it seemed like it almost looked like the guy shooting the crossbow wanted to kill his homie with it and not kill Marc Singer with it. He pulled him, had him in front of him for so long, and then the guy gets a crossbow and aims, and then he holds him back up a little bit more. It's like they were colluding to kill the guy. It was just rough. And you know, as a really big martial arts movies fan, that choreography was very lacking. Now, if you know, the low budget's okay, the effects not being so special, that's even okay because of the time it came from. But fight choreography was further evolved at that point than we were able to witness for that movie. So, you know, one thing I will say is the cultural relevance of this one is off the chart. You know, how many Beastmaster movies were there? Yeah, 3
4.
movies, right?
Four.
More than there should have been.
Right, and then a series.
Mhm.
So this thing, you know, this thing was making it. Would the register was ringing, ding, 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 for a long time on this one. So they did a lot of things right with this one, but I just the worst thing, the thing that's just because the resources, the skills, and the talent, and were established at the time to have better fight choreography. That was the biggest piece for me that was lackluster.
I think this would be a movie, like, you know, we're always talking about remakes and stuff. This, I think, would be a good story to remake. Like, I really do think so, because the idea is great. Like I'm telling you, that first 20 minutes, I was like, oh shit, I forgot that she takes the baby and puts it in the cow, and you know, all that. Like, I was like, that's fucking gnarly. Like, I was loving all that part, and even like when the dad shows up and he clicks the little, you know, boomerang and he fucking throws it at her and shit. Like, yeah, all that. I was all in. I'm like, okay, this is why I liked it. Like, this is why I like it. And then, like, I swear, as soon as the Beastmaster came on screen, I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about him. And then, like, that's why I like the second one, because the second one, he time travels to nowadays, and it's very silly. It's like Tarzan, George of the Jungle, and he fits perfectly with that, playing that way, you know what I mean? Like, it was funny and shit. Like, this was like, I was like, oh, they're really stretching, like that.
Lizard.
Well, I mean, I like watching this movie. It's not one of those ones where I go, oh shit, I'm gonna put on Beastmaster. But when it is, when it's on CBS or TNT or something like that, you know, and they play it, I'm like, okay, I'll sit down and I'll have it play in the background, or I'll watch it, that kind of thing. But that's just because there's commercials, so you can get up and you can go do other stuff if you needed to. But it's okay for me. Like, you know, the thing is that it was like, when you mentioned that it's based off of an Andre Norton short story, and so I like it because of that purpose, because he's not the big burly Conan or anything like that. It was a more recent. It was right around the time where they were doing when I was reading like John Carter, who also was like a skinny, like superhero kind of like thing.
I don't think Marc Singer was skinny. I'd rather have Marc Singer's body than Arnold's.
Well,
to be truthful, at least Marc Singer could probably wash his back.
They're two.
They're
two different.
He can wipe his own ass.
Types of like heroes. The genre might be the same, but they're two different types of like not stereotype, but like tropes. You know what I mean? You think of barbarians, or these big burly guys like him. He's not that type. So it fit more with like the sci-fi element of things at the time that when it came out. But like I said, I like it. I like the animals, yeah, because I'm an animal person, I know. And, you know, I liked seeing another Bond girl in the movie. So, you know, she was pretty cool. Seeing her again in another, you know, besides James Bond. But, you know, I remember as a kid, what scared me the most were those bat things that showed up. Like, whenever somebody would say, let's watch Beastmaster, I'm like, is that the one with the bat people where they hug you and you like turn it, like that face? Even nowadays, sometimes when I have like nightmares now as an adult, that's the face that I see a lot of times, is that one that's like looking down at him. And yeah. And even now when I was watching this, I got a little nervous. like watching it. I think it traumatized me a little bit as a kid, but no, it's a fun movie. I'm not dissing it super hard, but because I remember watching it as a kid and like appreciating it for what it was. And I think I was, it was another thing when he talked about the boobies, and I'm like, oh, there's boobies in it, and I'm watching it with my dad, and my dad's not doing this to me, you know what I mean? So it must be okay then. So it must be a kid movie. Yeah, it was. It's a meh movie.
All right, well, let's get into it. Liz, you're going to have the benefit of picking next week's movie, so we've gone full circle again.
Oh.
Fun, good, great times for all of us.
I'll
So-
mention it in the live show because I got to think of something.
Buckets. This one for me, it had me longing for Monty Python. So I want to give this one a 2 buckets. One for each booby scene. Go ahead, Fuzz.
No, you want me to go last, dude. So go ahead.
You're going to try to save it.
Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, no, I'm not. Dude, I'm going to bury this bitch. Look, I'll do it now. Look, I'm going to give it a 3.5. And this is why. Because it's not rad. You know, it's no secret of my success. You know, it's nothing that good. but I appreciate the
salute.
Yeah, this you know, titties and all that. I'm good. I don't want to diss it more because I know Jaded loves it, and I don't like shitting on people's stuff. So, but yeah, 3.5. I'll give it 3.5. No fuzzy points.
It gets a point for each animal. So you got 2 ferrets, an eagle, and a tiger. Oh no, and then the dog at the beginning. So it's got 5. Yeah, this is the John Wick effect before the John Wick effect happened.
And that was the other part I died laughing at when he fucking carried the dog and laid it with the father, and he walked away and gave it the look. I will avenge you. I went.
Oh, there you go. This is olden days John Wick. So this is a tale as old as time, apparently. And a bear. Yeah, so there's 6. All right, so I was gonna try to give it a 5. So there you go. There's 6. It had 6 animals in it. We're good to go. Gets a 6 for that. I can't give it any higher.
Rip Torn.
He is an animal, but man, yeah. See, there's like little parts like that. There's little nuggets. Yeah, Rip Torn did a really good.
Are you up to 6 right now?
I'm at to 7.
Out of 10?
Animal. There's 2 ferrets. There's a dog, a tiger, an
I'm sure the tiger had fleas. Make it a 9.
Shut up, man. I don't nail you guys for your 167.5 points. So
Hey, because they deserve it. That's why, deep down inside it deserves it. That's why.
I have to give it a 7 because if I don't, then I'm sleeping on the couch tonight.
Well, you guys will be on the couch together.
So,
With your pinkies like this.
it's a 6 for me. It's one I'll watch again, but I'm not like jonesing to ever watch it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, keep in mind that these low scores are coming from these numbnuts who thought Rad was a great movie. So keep that in perspective.
It was the
flip
best.
that upside down right there.
Nothing's gonna ever keep it down.
Secondly, I like this movie because, as all the kids today like to say, I see myself in it. There's a white guy with ridiculous hair that does ridiculous kicks, and those are kicks that I can do, so I can see myself in it. I'm swinging my sword on the top of the hills. I'm doing ridiculous drop kicks to fools.
The shorts make sense now. The shorts make sense.
This weekend when we were playing badminton, he had his little badminton.
I was ready.
Yeah.
I was ready. And last thing I will say is I'm not a big fan of the quote unquote Goonie effect, because I think the Goonies are one of those films that holds up perfectly over time. I don't think it's actually worse now than it was then. It might even be better than it used to be. So I don't think that I understand that there's an effect where you might like something as a kid, like say, I don't know, Rad, and it turns out to be dog shit later. However, this film is about the same as it was when I was a kid. I knew that Conan was better. I knew that there were other films in the sword and sorcery thing, like Willow or Excalibur, that were a little bit higher on the scale. But this is a solid film. It's not great, but it's solid. I'm going to give it a soft 8.
There you have it.
I know it.
On all the way up to a 4.
I know what I'm thinking.
I wish
right.
I wish
So
I
next
had
week-
a soft 8.
Next week we'll have Liz picking our movie. Hope you guys had fun watching us. And if you have any movie suggestions, please put them below. Classic movies, got to be at least 10 years old. Thanks for watching. Late to the party. Fuzzy, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us. Have some love, some peace, and that Popeyes grease. We out. Peace.
Fuzzy wants your children.